Since years past, gun laws in America have been federal laws. These laws have to do with the manufacturing, distributing, transportation, and especially possession of firearms. In recent years, gun laws have been a large issue because of the number of public shootings. Here we have Brown Sock arguing that gun laws should stay federal laws, and Mustache Sock arguing that states should make the laws.
It was written in the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution that citizens should have the right to bear arms. The federal government said this in the 1700s, so clearly they should be making laws regarding gun control.
I mean, yes, the federal government gives citizens the right to bear arms, but that has nothing to do with gun control. It should be the state's responsibility to make laws controlling gun regulations.
But if you look at the D.C. versus House decision, the Supreme Court decided that the laws of D.C. violated the Second Amendment. This being the case, the federal government decided that it was unconstitutional to make laws that restrict the Second Amendment.
Well, yes, that was a very important case, but 2 years later the Supreme Court decided in a similar fashion in McDonald versus Chicago that the states cannot limit one's Second Amendment rights either.
But what about permits and restrictions on firearms? Who should be responsible for that?
Well, every state currently has very different laws regarding that. For example, Wyoming has some of the loosest laws regarding purchasing and owning weapons, but also is home to one of the lowest murder rates per state.
These laws do not necessarily deter crime, but what it really depends on is how they're enforced. If the federal government made stricter laws, people would follow them more closely.
States should clearly have the right to limit gun use because each state has different people, and a lot of this has to do with each specific state, not just one country.
But what about federal permits for guns? Shouldn't the federal government create equal rules for every person in the country? That seems to be the fairest way for every citizen.
But again, every state has very different people, and they should be able to pass laws as they fit in their own individual states. The same also applies for laws regarding semi-automatic and assault weapons, because states are in control of fewer people as a whole than the federal government. They are able to make more effective laws based on their own citizens regarding this.
But what if I live in a state where I'm not allowed to own a semi-automatic weapon? Would I have to move to another state?
Yes, but this is the fairest way for the entire country. It may not be a perfect strategy, but it works best for the nation.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense.
Well, that settles it, I guess. States should be the lawmaking body for gun control rights.